When he got married and had a kid, this nigga was still hiding. I say this to this day, before we get to any of these videos, Kris Tyson was always hiding who he was, which is a transgender nigga. Yo, welcome to the Not Holding Back series. This is your boy Fat Man. I'm gonna do this in 2 separate parts because there's a lot happening on the YouTube side and there's a lot happening on the Twitter side, and we're gonna be mashing a lot of these together. So if some of you don't know, Kris Tyson, before we jump into this, Kris Tyson has now been accused of being a pedophile. You know, you was a pedophile, nigga. I heard you like little boys, nigga. That type of pedophile. Listen, with the Not Holding Back series, I'm gonna make this very clear with every single person that comes to this video. I am going to try to rationalize all of this shit because it doesn't make sense, because Kris Tyson being the, what does Sneako say, the most gun-toting, manliest man before he transitioned guy out there. I do think Kris was compensating for something. I'm gonna preface this by saying, I'm not gonna handle this with kid gloves. I'm gonna be as honest as I can with the whole doctor disrespect thing. I'm honest when I can with this shit. I'm gonna be real because a lot of things have to be notified and said here. Dr. Disrespect's one claim to fame was it led into inappropriate. With being an adult and talking to anybody online, even if they're a kid or whatever the fuck, it's hard to be online and play video games and do shit when there's also gonna be kids there. Remember that. Anything you do is with you think it's an activity for adults, there's gonna be kids there. I'm dead ass. Adult, no, there's no such thing as just an adult activity anymore. There's gonna be kids all over online. You have to be aware of that. Now, let's be honest. It seems that Kris was involved in that transportation of photographic images. And if it wasn't a big deal, well, it is a big deal because Kris has come out to resign from MrBeast, but MrBeast has come out and said, nah, this nigga was fired. So, we're gonna cut the knife in. I'm gonna handle this the best way I can with respect and understanding. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, we're about to lose all that, so let's get into it. We're gonna start with this. I love this YouTuber, more Presco, what the fuck his name is. We're gonna start off with this dude because he seems to go over the shit. And I said long videos, which I do mean long videos. Let's get it do.
Okay, we gotta talk about Kris Tyson. Oh my god. So it all starts with this video titled, "This video will make you hate Kris Tyson." And not gonna lie, it was pretty successful at making me hate Kris Tyson. Basically, it's exposed Kris for being an absolute A-grade, gold star, certified degenerate freak. I gotta say, this is one of the worst things I've seen in a while. Basically, Kris is really into lollipops without the pops, if you know what I mean. And essentially, lollipops, as I'll be calling it in this video, are drawings of minors, but, you know, animated. So, it's one of those...
Okay, I heard about LollyCon, or Lolly, right? So Lolly is... that was a powerful burp. Lolly is basically fictional characters. Yes, they are drawn to be super young, but they're supposed to be like... Either they're fantasy characters, they're usually put in lewd, suggestive positions, blase blah, right? Sexual positions, lolicon. Personally, me, I don't give a fuck about that shit because it's, to me, when I heard of it, I was like, oh, isn't that the shit that's just like drawings of like seemingly young characters, but it's like whatever. But people are like, no, that's pedophilia. And I'm like, wouldn't pedophilia be actual like kids, like actual kids being pedophiles? Like you're actually someone touching kids and that stuff. But people are drawing the lines and the blur line similarity to be like, no, lolicon is pedophilia regardless of if it's just art. Which I'm over here like, they sell it at conventions. They got motherfuckers selling it online. So somebody doesn't have a problem with it. And if you look, I heard a YouTuber say, if you look up lolicon or lolly, you're going to be put on a list. And I was like, really? I'm like, nigga, that's weird. But it's a whole different thing in the anime community. There's tons of arguments over it. There's tons of this and that. To me, I'm like, isn't it just drawings? Because anime's been doing this shit for years with young characters and then older women who are super overly sexy and then young characters who are super cute where you're just so cute you just want to like smush their faces in and beat the shit out of them. Listen, it's adorable. But that's what I've been saying over the years. But that's just me and my over explanational ass. But if it's a big deal in the community, honestly, don't even interact with the whole lolicon situation because nigga, it gets worse from here.
Situations where, you know, guys, she actually only looks 8 years old, and you know, I like jacking it to this 8-year-old character.
I don't know about that. 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 That last part is crazy. I'd be like, yo, relax.
And I have her framed in my living room, but actually, she's just a 50,000-year-old vampire, so it's completely okay. Now, it turns out Kris was also good friends with someone who draws real children as those characters and actually bought art from them as well. Damn. So that's when your behavior is just borderline PDF file. And
was it... I heard... Okay, so he's about to talk about Chadman or Shadman. I thought it was Shitman. But Shadman is an artist that used to draw very lewd lolicon type of shit, except for it bordered on pedophilia because he drew Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in sexual positions with Donald Trump. This happened. This was a real thing. It's because at that time in 17 to 18, Donald Trump was fucking hated. He was hated. And at this time, I remember the election was going on. So I think a couple friends of mine who were very close to the internet at the time might know about this. So hopefully someone that knows about the situation will be in the comments below. But Shadman, I think, is still around and still does art. I think so. Or he got arrested for some bullshit.
And then there's very, very, very little difference. So it all starts with this guy named Shadman, who is the lollipop art creator.
However, there's a very sketchy personality involved in the story, also known as Shadman. Shadman was a normal guy until he decided to attend an art university in Switzerland to pursue his passion for art. However, shortly after, he was expelled when some of his artwork was discovered to be illegal, even considered a danger to society.
Okay, so essentially this Shadman guy is an actual freak. He draws not only animated 8-year-olds, but also real people. In fact, this guy drew his own mother in a prawn scenario.
Whoa. This man is the literal embodiment of, oh, everything is art. Anything can be drawn and created as art. Anything is suggestive and I'm like, nigga, relax. Relax. If you starving like that, as a freak-ass artist, you wildin'. Because you know what this means? This means he was, to me, it's weird to logically understand this. He was pandering to the lowest denominator for money. He was pandering to freaks and losers to draw this type of shit. And he was like, if I draw this, people are going to pay money for this. Like the weirdos, like the scum of the internet. It's like he's almost feeding into that. Now, this is a grab it from thin air type of shit and pull it and think about it for a second. Like, if he was deranged like that and he got kicked out of school, obviously he's like, I'm trying to make money out of this. Did he make money out of this though? Like, that's my one problem. But also, why pander and go so hard to degeneracy to draw your own mom, nigga? Like, relax.
Which is absolutely wild, all right? That is, I don't know what levels of messed up that actually is.
50?
But if that wasn't bad enough, this guy took Keemstar's actual real daughter, who was a minor, and drew her in also prawn scenarios as well, which is just, I don't know, man, disgusting, depraved. There is no justification for that as well. Despite this fact, and despite knowing all this, we have good old friend Kris Tyson here, who just doesn't seem to mind. Doesn't seem to mind at all. In fact, Kris...
My part is like, when does Kris come into this? Does Kris come into this, like, at some point? Does he know about the whole Keemstar and the daughter thing? Does he purchase that, like, type of shit?
Seems to love this type of stuff, showing support multiple times to Shadman through several tweets, even like
shout outs to Shadman based for having fun for work drawings today. Accidentally pulled up his website on stream. Oh no.
Pulling them up on stream once accidentally.
This is when Twitch or YouTube, their guidelines was very different.
And even commissioning this type of disgusting art and hanging it in their living room, that they're even commissioning tweets.
Well, how old is this? This is 2019, right? So this is an old ass tweet that he tweeted in 2019. This is before MrBeast eventually got popping, before he reached 1 million.
even like pulling them up on stream once accidentally, and even commissioning this type of disgusting art and hanging it in their living room that they were sharing with them.
Look at Jimmy. Look at Jimmy's face. He's like, what the fuck is that? And you know, Jimmy's just thinking like, this is a fit. Jimmy's eyes are directly pointing right at it. Like, he sees it and he's just like, what the fuck is that? Like, why would you commission this? But this is my problem with the whole Kris situation that I'm gonna get to.
MrBeast.
Someone will tweet on November 8th, 2016, asking Shadman to draw Keemstar's daughter, who was 7 years old at the time, doing inappropriate things with Donald Trump. Shadman will respond by saying that if Trump wins the election, he will deliver it.
Whoa.
And as we know, Trump wins, and as promised, Shadman will post drawings.
Okay, so this is literally all that I'm going to show because I don't really feel comfortable showing more than that. But yeah, I mean, this is a real person, not...
At the time, this is a lot of people say, oh, Keemstar, people hated Keemstar, but at the same time, I'm like, you cannot like someone and really dislike them, but hate is strong. Keemstar is nobody's worst enemy except for those who he has created enemies out of himself, right? I do think if someone doesn't like Keemstar themselves, they'll step to this nigga and they'll show them like, yo, like I don't fuck with you, I ain't friends with you, straight up like that. That's a lot of YouTubers who understand, but they gotta understand that Keemstar Drama Alert is just like TMZ and all these other bullshit ass paparazzi ass niggas. His life is nothing but other people's lives, other people's drama. Especially when Etika pulled up that he almost killed that old man who was just streaming online. And Keemstar, you know, pushed Etika to the fucking edge. So a lot of people didn't like this nigga at a certain time and place. I understand that. But there's a difference from his daughter, not liking him, to his daughter. If he would have drew Keemstar and Donald Trump, I'm like, that's hilarious. Fuck that nigga, that's funny. But you did it to his 7-year-old daughter. People keep saying 8-year-old, 7-year-old. The age is different. The age keeps getting lower. But it's fucked up. Because she hasn't... The fuck are you drawing this kid for and just being like, haha, fuck you, Keemstar. And someone literally had to press him to take it down. Like, they had to press that nigga to take it down.
A 1,000-year-old witch or whatever defense people have for this. This is actually like Keemstar's daughter drawn in this manner, which is beyond
disgusting.
Messed up, right?
Disgusting.
But of course, this is still Shadman, right? How is Kris Tyson related to this? Well, we'll get into that.
How are Ava and Shadman linked? Well, the answer to this is another drawing by Shadman. It depicts a young girl wearing a "Please be patient, I have autism" cap, pointing a gun at her mouth.
That is some...
She has a fidget spinner as an earring and a spade tattoo on her thigh that says BBC, which we all know what it means. On November 18th, 2017, Ava responded to a tweet from Grande and MrBeast stating, "This is coming from a guy who owns a Shad-based drawing and has it as a centerpiece in his living room." Just some time later, they also posted the exact same drawing laid on the floor with the caption,
So this is 2017.
"Bonus fidget spinners to throw some extra autism." Initially, it seems Kris was being sarcastic because this tweet came after Shadman had drawn all those disgusting images.
After? Okay.
However, something messy was going on behind the
Tipping pizza delivery guys $10,000. Oh yeah, that's one of his older videos.
scenes.
That's like 5 years ago. Shit.
In this MrBeast video, you'll
6 years
notice a
ago.
very familiar thing at the 9 minutes and 30-second timestamp. From what I believe, keeping illegal art in the bedroom isn't normal at all. The shocking thing is
if it's illegal, like that, like if this is an actual child, cool. To me, I thought this was one of those weird characters from like the Loud House. So, and personally, this goes back to Kris's personality, not as any defense, but it's kind of what Sneako says. Sneako said Kris is the most gun-toting, disrespectful, crazy motherfucker out there who was saying and doing shit, and now he's a tranny, right? And when Sneako said these things, it was compensating. I'm gonna show you the clip right now. This is from Sneako, hands down.
Kris I know was like a truck driving, AK-47 shooting, Call of Duty playing, dip chewing. Yep, that was the Kris I knew. You didn't say that. You didn't say the part where it's gonna get you canceled. But that was the Kris I knew. Was woo Trump? What's up with all these trannies? The Kris, he had a southern accent. He was driving monster trucks and he helped me shoot my first AK-47. And he was chewing dip and he was smoking Marlboro Reds. He had just bought a big truck with all the MrBeast money. That was Kris. What the fuck happened? The people that are encouraging this, they think that they're doing the right thing. They're all brainwashed, even MrBeast.
That's Sneako saying everything about Kris Tyson. The smoking, the drinking, the helping me shoot my own AK, spitting Marlboro Reds, whatever the fuck. All of that, when Sneako first said it and I realized Kris transitioned, he was hiding. Kris was hiding who he was. Kris was overcompensating as a man. As a man, I don't gotta do any of that shit because I've learned this as a man. I can do whatever the fuck I want and it don't have to be what every other nigga is doing. This was the Midwest American. Classic white boy, white town, Midwest American, doing all the crazy white people shit. Hunting, shooting, smoking, drinking a fucking, I don't know, not a 40, but drinking something that's like a 40. Doing all the shit that white boys do, but overcompensating in something. Trying too hard to be a man. When he got married and had a kid, this nigga was still hiding. I say this to this day, before we get to any of these videos. Kris Tyson was always hiding who he was, which is a transgender nigga. He's trying too hard, overcompensating for something. Most men who know who they are, most men who know who the fuck they is, most men and most people who know who they are don't overcompensate for shit. Oh, that's a fact. But they try too hard to impress others. That is the complexity in our society. When you try too fucking hard.
Is that MrBeast and Kris were roommates during that time.
Yeah, nah, Kris is absolutely cooked. You not only bought the art, but had it on display in your living room for everybody to see. Any guests that come in, oh, your mom comes to visit? Well, look at my lovely art over there. I mean, how much of a degenerate can you actually be? I can't believe it took over like 6 years for this to actually come out and become public information, because I'm also wondering if they do all of this stuff in public, right? You know, tweeting like that, showcasing your support for such a horrible person like Shadman, monetarily supporting him too, displaying his stuff in your living room, then what are they doing in private, right? I mean, it's just got to be 10 times worse, right? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Sunny V2 actually had the last laugh. Now, of course, in his viral video, he didn't really talk about this situation. He just talked about Kris being trans. But he did predict that Kris Tyson would eventually become a problem for MrBeast. And that was right. Maybe not in the right way, but, you know. Now, I'm not going to talk about the trans thing or whatever. I just judge people on their character and their actions. So when I see that this person is a massive creep, I automatically feel the need to call them out, right?
I think Kris was a dipshit. This is me still bringing some logic in the situation. I think Kris overstepped boundaries. I think Kris was doing too much. He was trying to be too much of a man. He was trying to be too much of everything. He was trying to be too friendly with people. As a personality, I've learned, small personality, I've learned I'm going to make good friends. I'm not going to make a lot of friends. And everybody else there, you're just a viewer. Let's just be real. But in reality, sometimes you're not a viewer. You're a person. You're an individual. I gotta communicate and talk with you guys. I have to be real with everybody, but not share my whole fucking life with you niggas, because relax, because I got my own privacy. And Kris was just doing the most. He was like, fuck it. Out in the mid fucking West doing whatever he gotta do. But then I still say that this nigga was hiding who he was. Hiding the fact that he was changing, even if he had a kid, even if he was married. He sold his wife a delusion. And he sold that delusion to his kid. If you didn't know who you were, my nigga, it was time to really break it in. Because once the money comes in and your boy is feeding you, you're set for life. But let's continue. I do see through his character, he made some bad decisions. But the Shadman stuff almost had shit to do with Kris, because he just bought something from Shadman, which wasn't the art of Keemstar's daughter. It was some other art on some other shit that it's like, whatever.
It wouldn't matter if Kris was straight.
But does this make it right? That's for you to decide.
Or gay or whatever the hell, right? If you're into kids and doing stuff like this, you need to be called out. You need to be locked up for a long time and pretty much ran off the internet, because if you're in MrBeast videos, literally the most popular man on the planet, and you're, what, influencing like half the world's kids, I'm sorry, you just don't deserve to be there in that spot. There are plenty of other people who will gladly take your place, and the only reason you're there is because you were MrBeast's childhood friend. The fact of the matter is, with all of this information,
I give a lot of leeway here, right? I'll give some leeway. I respect friendship. Listen, I just lost one of my best friends, and I've also gained a best friend, and the whole situation is weird. But I've also realized people who show out for you. And if you stick up for somebody and they stick up for you, that's different. That's called friendship. But also, if Jimmy puts his neck out on the line for you, and it's different in Jimmy's situation, because a lot of people are like, oh, your friend is a sex offender, your friend is this, your friend is that. And some people just like, they stand by their friends so much and they don't realize like, hey, I can't be blind to the shit happening. Because if I step out and realize this nigga's bad, he's gonna fuck my life up, it's bad enough that your life and your situation, everything happening to you, you realize you're sticking your neck out for the wrong person. Because baby boy, girl, are they sticking their necks out for you the way you are? If they're a sex offender, if they're on a list, if they're not even on a list yet, if they've sexually assaulted someone against their will, I don't want to say the words. You got to really think about this. And Chris hasn't done any of that, but he's overstepped some type of boundary and some type of respect. Like I said before, you can't go online without there being kids, regardless of being a creator nowadays, being an adult. At his age, at 20, or however old he was at the time, 23, 20, 20-ish, shit he did was the shit he did then, 7 years ago. I'm not holding that to him. Well, actually, 2017, so 8 to 9 years ago, I'm not holding that to him. But that's for you to decide that. I don't hold people against who they were. I can if you really did some bad shit. Right now, it just seems like Chris overstepped, and it's not looking good. But this is one video out of many. Let's continue.
You are not a good influence on kids. And honestly, a while back, right, a picture was going viral on Twitter where Chris dressed up their kid, Tucker, in heels, right? And there was this...
yeah, he put, like, heels on his kid, but his kid was in pajamas. He was just like, I'm gonna put you in some heels. Like, dressing up there, like, putting his kid in some heels. It was weird, but personally, it's kind of like he was just trying to have some fun and have some support from his son, who's, like, super young and doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Big debate, like a culture war, where people are saying, oh, you're making them trans as well. Oh, you're making them gay. And some people said that, no, they're just having fun. It's not that deep. They're just, you know, playing dress up or whatever the heck. But seeing this history of Chris and their obsession with lollipops and having it framed on the walls, I mean, Chris needs to be investigated and definitely needs to respond ASAP. Now, the video continues with Chris just constantly responding to Shadman and asking for more and more of this underage art. And at a certain point, I mean, you're just sick in the head. If it was a one-off joke, one time, I get it. You know, being edgy, whatever. Everybody was edgy at one point. But you clearly love this stuff. You have it framed on your wall.
On April 16th, 2018, Ava replied under a deleted Shadman post saying, "No Beast Boy trap, Shad? You've changed."
No Beast Boy trap, Shad, you changed.
Basically, Ava was asking Shadman to draw art of Beast Boy, as Beast Boy was shown at different ages in the show. We can't say anything for certain, but that doesn't mean the tweet wasn't strange, though.
It's whatever. I don't really. I'm not really. I don't know why. For me, that type of shit is like, it's a whatever burger. I'm like, whatever, nigga. I don't really care.
But we definitely can't say the same about the next tweet.
Is that
On
Caillou?
January 17th, 2018, a person tweeted saying, "Remember this growing up? Me too. Check it out at Shadbase," featuring a photo of the 4-year-old cartoon character Caillou with his mother. Chris joined in and replied, "Help, I need an adult." I don't think there's any need to explain how crazy
Okay, well, that's a comment. Help, I need an adult, because what the fuck is this?
this stuff is. But what's even crazier is Ava's next tweet. Maybelle and Dipper are 12-year-old siblings from a show called Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
On July 14th.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie to you. You type in Gravity Falls, Rule 34, that shit is no. 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 Yo, the internet is crazy. Let's continue.
In 2017, a user tweeted comics of these characters kissing. Ava replied, "They're twins, so at this point, it's just right?"
Yeah, there is just no defending this. I don't see how any Chris supporter.
I feel like he's just commenting, but yeah, this looks bad, I guess. But in reality, to anybody that's like, oh, but these are minor characters in the show, they're being forced to integrate, like, this is bad. Somebody drew them like this. His comment is sexually fucked up. His comment is fucked up. 100%.
Are ever gonna justify this peak degeneracy? You're asking for Beast Boy art here, who's actually one of my favorite Teen Titans characters. Man, you ruined that as well, huh? The internet one by one, taking everything I love and just driving a knife into it. Caillou is crazy, by the way. That is, why would you ever want to see that? Nah. And Mabel and Dipper from Gravity Falls. Actually, a bunch of people told me to watch that show. I watched a couple episodes, but yeah, that's not something you want to see sexualized. That is so weird. And I actually know what the Chris defenders are going to say. It's going to be either one, that it's just edgy jokes, right? Chris didn't mean it. They were a different person. I mean, really? The same joke 500 times. And the joke is that they purchased illegal art and framed it on their wall. That's like saying I committed mass murder as a joke. Like, how is it a joke if you're actually doing it and actually believe that stuff, right? And the second defense is obviously going to be, you're transphobic. Of course. Anybody criticizing anything regarding LGBT person.
Listen, I'm a commentator. I criticize fucking everything. And I'm a movie reviewer. I criticize everything. I will criticize what I gotta criticize because criticism is important. Because you're with a certain subsection group, no matter if you're gay, if you're trans, even if you're straight, even if you're 14 and getting older, people, and even someone like me, I'm gonna criticize. Other words, you're a content creator and you're young, like Neon was, young on the platform, now like 20 or 19. You're gonna get criticized by the whole internet since you was a kid up until now, clout chasing. You gotta be honest with yourselves. Criticism comes in shapes and forms. It really shows that Chris was wilding on the internet back in the day. And MrBeast didn't have a whole company, didn't have a whole system, didn't have a whole peoples and mouths to feed. And then eventually, I don't even think Jimmy paid attention to his niggas because he's like, this is real when it comes to Jimmy. Because MrBeast, Jimmy Donaldson, over here is like, I'm doing me. And my friends, I integrate them into my shit. And I pay them, and I do all that shit. And then, you got this nigga saying crazy shit. Now, I've said crazy shit on Twitter. And if anybody would use my tweets against me, listen, you a bitch. You can suck my dick. I'm not going to apologize for shit. Because in the downfall, tweets or shit that you say, if I have to apologize for them, I'm not apologizing because I'm sincere. I'm apologizing because, oh yeah, it offended you and that's your feelings. But when you step back for a second and be like, well, that's none of my business to really commentate on or apologize to or even look for sympathy points, Chris fucked up. Yeah, he fucked up. Even if they're just tweets, even if he's not hurting anyone, even if they're not directly hurting someone, it shows your character and people think automatically, hey, you supported Shadman, you bought this art, you said these crazy things online, you must be a pedophile. Except for Dr. Disrespect, who was inappropriately texting the pedophile, which is what he said. So, you know, there's apples to oranges here, or there's like a brick to a coconut. Like, let's be real.
Oh, you're just.
But you can criticize both of these. You can't. I'm doing it.
Phobic, homophobic, transphobic, which I know is completely just brain dead, but this is how some people think that these people are beyond criticism or something. But I'm saying it right now, if Chris was perfectly straight and not trans, they would be called out just the same. Just like plenty of straight people who have been called out, like EDP445 or Cody Co or Dr. Disrespect, right? These are all people who are, you know, been involved in the
EDP situation is crazy. Cody Co's situation is even crazier, but then again, the woman came out, she came out and said, like, I don't think, I was consensual and all this other shit, but at the same time, people really want him to speak up, which you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
These PDF allegations, right? And it turns out the internet does not discriminate against creeps, right? We just, like, it doesn't matter what type of PDF file you are. We all agree that they are just the worst types of people. So that defense is never going to work. Now, after this, Kris talks about Violet from The Incredibles, you know, just adding to that roster.
There's already too much art of Violet out there and the mom. Let's stop. Like, dead ass. Like, let's not even go there.
Of, hey, I gotta be as creepy as possible. And then accidentally pulls up Shadman's website on stream, which is, wow.
On June 21st, 2018, a user posted some scenes of a 14-year-old character named Violet from the movie Incredibles. Ava replied saying, low-key, she's cute. The fact that Violet was 14 and Ava was a grown adult makes this even worse.
Okay, so just that tweet in itself, obviously that can be interpreted as an edgy joke. I'm sure somebody's made some like edgy joke in the past, not me, but you know, some other people have made jokes like that where you know, the internet has forgiven them. But with all this other context and you know supporting this type of person for so long and you know monetarily supporting them as well, the context becomes vastly different, and then this becomes a degenerate thing.
The surprising part is that Ava wasn't just reacting to Shadman's work. They were friends or knew each other, to say the least. On April 16th, 2019, Ava will post a clip from their live stream where they accidentally visited Shadman's website. What's even weirder is that they gave him a shout out stating, "Shout out to Shadbase for having safe for work drawings today."
And you can see the dates are getting closer and closer to today. We have 2019, which is 5 years ago. Still a long time before, but you know, in situations like this, the time doesn't really matter because once a creep, always a creep type of situation, right? You just can't tell me
if he's doing creepy things. Like I do get what bro here is saying. To me, a creep is someone out there approaching like full degeneracy. I really do think Chris's inner thoughts or how he feels sexually or how the art is, that's up to interpretation for itself. Only person that can speak on that shit is Kris himself at that time. Right now, Kris is Ava Tyson, and if he's a different woman than he was a man, overcompensating and trying too hard. I know niggas just like Kris Tyson. I know niggas just like him. Like, I think I know a few who are edgy and trying to be edgy and think that they can do edginess, think that they can be edgy in this modern day. And it's just corny. Like, bro, you're corny. I love you, but you're corny. And niggas trying to be, not safe for work, motherfuckers. Like, dude's really trying hard. And for me personally, it's tryhards like that shows me it's out of date. Kris is eventually getting out of date with this whole thing. And eventually with the whole MrBeast thing, MrBeast didn't really go back and check niggas' tweets. MrBeast didn't go back and censor his old videos. He reached 1 million at some point. Like, MrBeast really, really did it. And his boy Kris wasn't operated because obviously you wasn't keeping track of what your niggas was doing. Because how can you? Nigga, I'm thinking you just doing what you do online and it's not a big deal until it comes back to it. But this is what I say. If Kris did some creepy shit, it's on him that he did some real creepy shit. Art, I don't really care about the art. Tweets, I don't really care about the tweets. It's what you do literal in life. That what matters to me. Because it really shows me your character. This just shows me one thing. The one thing is, you's a bitch. You's weird. And you's getting weirder and weirder. And if it's only been tweets online, how the fuck do we not know that there's been other shit offline? You catch me? That's what I'm just saying.
That Kris is innocent in this and didn't know what Shadman's done. Because obviously they have a degenerate past. And, you know, some people are saying that, oh, okay, Kris has completely reinvented themselves and they are a new person because they're trans, which is like, does it really like change you from a PDF type of
It doesn't change who you are. And I don't really think Kris is borderline getting weird. Now, is he a pedophile? We're gonna reach that in the rest of the videos.
Than to a non-PDF. I'm sorry. Then every criminal is becoming trans. All right, that's not how it works at all. And if you were doing PDF type things 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't care. You still need to pay for it. This is not a situation where somebody's getting canceled because oh, you were cringy 6 years ago. Oh, you were saying slurs 6 years ago back when it was okay or whatever. There are certain situations in which it doesn't really matter the time gap, considering you were still doing degenerate things as an adult, as a fully functioning adult, right? I really hope Jimmy sees this because, you know, I know you were defending your friend in the past and on Twitter and stuff, and I understand your childhood friends, and, you know, if your friend is, like, weird as heck like this, it's time to open your eyes. Like, you could pull up my 5, 10 best friends, whatever, from my entire life, and if you told me they did the same things that Chris did, I would disown them immediately. I'd never talk to them again, all right?
On January 25th, 2019, Shadman posted a picture of a character called Raphtalia from The Rising of the Shield Hero.
Oh, yeah.
There are 2 versions of her in the show. In one, she is 17, and in the other, she's 10. Shadman posted a 10-year-old version stating, "What is this, and why do people keep sending me this?" Ava replied underneath saying, "Please, Shad, please." I believe everyone understands what this means. One of the tweets, which wasn't clear or was out of context, said, "Nothing gets my knob cranking like some..."
Okay, so I actually have seen this tweet before, and honestly, when I saw it, I thought, okay, this is a tweet from the past. Chris was being extremely edgy. They don't mean what they say here. Obviously, it's a very dark joke or whatever the heck, you know? But at the time, I thought Chris was just being edgy because they were making, you know, attack helicopter jokes and stuff like that, so that would fall in line. But with all this other context, you were just being truthful.
I'm like... It still could be edgy, and it also could be true. Like, honestly. Nothing cranks my knob harder than lolly stuff. But it's like, he is, at some point, we don't know if he's being edgy or he's just being like, haha, making jokes. I still think it's edgy and jokes, but I also think he's just saying shit because he's like, oh yeah, Chad man about to make some fucking delicious art. Because he likes Shad's art.
This was an admission. This wasn't even a joke. This was just you know, confessing your feelings to the world here. Now, there's another screenshot, which is way worse. Possibly out of context. I don't have the full context here, but this is what people are saying. That bee looked good for a 4-year-old. What did they mean by that? What did Chris actually mean by that? Listen,
what the fuck?
This may be fake. All right, I can't verify this particular screenshot.
2017.
But, you know, considering everything else, it is very plausible that Ava Kris Tyson over here tweeted this because it would fall in line, honestly. And I'm very curious to see what this deleted tweet was because that changes everything, of course. If it was another one of these pictures or a real human represented, like, nah. Anyways, after this situation, I went to Kris Tyson's YouTube and Twitter just to see what people are saying. And, you know, on the Twitter, all the tweets are deleted. So it seems like somebody's trying to erase their tracks, you know? But then I went on their YouTube, and my god, it is flooded. Here's Kris Tyson's latest video, and 50k views, 300 likes, which obviously does not match up. You didn't appear in the video because there was no children there. Diddy party enthusiast. Dr. Chris Respect. Bro thinks we don't know. Challenge, stay away from kids. Difficulty impossible. I don't know what is going on in 2024. Every week we got another PDF. Worst era to be underage. Actually, you still keep that art piece on your wall, buddy. I hope not. I hope not. But anyways, that's basically it. In my opinion, Chris is shady AF, okay? Let me know what you guys thought about this while we go.
I like dude's content. Let's move on to something else.
Shit.
Getting bit on drum.
You
little niggas gonna stop acting like my shit ain't the grill.
Where's the last
Some of you
one?
niggas get your front teeth for grills. And I ain't talking about the contract. I
ain't loving these fake hoes. Room smelling like 8 switches. Room service like 2K. NBA, I'm ballin', nigga. All them niggas falling like autumn, nigga. Talking shit, I saw them niggas. Now they daughter want a picture. Rough, ain't it? Fuck famous.
Yeah, man.
Niggas too real, got the most haters. Wrote a story, so Stephen Curry. How it feel to be golden.